Hello and welcome back to Loaves and Dishes. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all how to make broccoli beef. This recipe is super simple and it's really great because you can kind of prep things ahead of time and put it in your freezer, and then you have a delicious freezer meal. And that's really great because this is sort of like semi-healthy, and it's just really easy to like put this in the freezer, get it out, and cook it when you want to eat it. And then also it's really simple to make and it's delicious. Before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you all so much to everyone who has already subscribed. We greatly appreciate it. And if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified when we upload. We try to make these videos as informational as possible and as short as possible, just because we don't want to take up your time with unnecessary information. Subscribe. And also, if you have any questions about anything, if you have any recipe suggestions, anything like that, please feel free to comment. I look at the comments every single day. I do my best to answer all of them. If I don't answer them, my mom answers them. And, so if you have a question about anything, please ask. Or if you just want to tell us anything, we would love to hear about it. If you have a recipe suggestion for us, we'd love to hear about it. So, let's get started. So I have my steaks. I'm using sirloin steak. They were on sale. You could also use flank steak, really almost any cut of ground beef, but flank steak is going to be the cheapest unless you can find, a steak on sale. So, or if you want it to be really good, use a good cut of steak, and that part's kind of up to you. But I would recommend like sticking with like an actual something that says steak on the label. So like flank steak, regular steak. I don't know about something like a Denver steak or something like that. I would not use something like pot roast, like a chuck roast. I would not use something like a London broil, nothing like that, because those are going to be, I would say, too tough. But if it says steak on the tag, it's probably going to work fine. But flank steak or like actual steak, like a sirloin or a New York strip or something like that, is going to be your best bet. And really, I think sirloin would be the best because it doesn't have a ton of fat in it. Like a New York strip steak has a big fat cap on it, so that might not be good. Ribeyes usually have a lot of fat marbling in them. And those are both more expensive, I think, than a sirloin. So, but anyways, okay. So you want to slice it really thin, and you want to cut it on a bias that's just going to kind of give you the most surface area. So, and that's where you kind of angle your knife. You see how I have my knife angled? That's called cutting something on a bias. Just means cutting it at an angle, pretty much. Okay, so now I have all of that. I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm just going to give it a quick little marinade. We're going to use a little bit of cornstarch. This is to help thicken the sauce when we cook it. We're going to add a little bit of soy sauce. I am also going to add some oyster sauce. If you don't have oyster sauce, you could just leave it out. It's not necessary, but I just like it because it's a little bit thicker. It deepens the flavor to me. And then I add some garlic and some salt and pepper. Again, if you don't want to add salt and pepper, you do not have to. If you think soy sauce has enough salt in it for you, don't add extra salt. And I'm just going to give that a mix. And then once I get it all mixed up, I am going to let that marinate for 15 to 30 minutes, just while I make the sauce and pick at the kitchen a little bit. So, okay, so for my sauce, I'm going to use some soy sauce. I'm going to use some oyster sauce again. Again, if you don't want to use oyster sauce, you don't have to. I just think it deepens the flavor. I would just use a little bit more soy sauce. Then I'm going to add some brown sugar. I also added some sriracha, just a touch, and then I'm adding some ginger, some salt, and some white pepper. If you don't have white pepper, black pepper will work just fine, but in most Asian cooking, they use white pepper. And then I added a little bit of sesame oil and some garlic. The sesame oil is optional. A lot of people don't really like the flavor, but I do, so I just added just a little bit. It was maybe like a teaspoon of sesame oil. And then I just gave that a mix, and I'm going to set that aside for when I am cooking the beef. So in my wok, and I'm just using a wok because it felt right. You don't have to use a wok. I added my beef, and it immediately stuck to the pan because I didn't have my pan hot enough. So don't do that. Just leave it alone if you find yourself in that situation. And now I'm adding my broccoli. And this is just frozen broccoli. And I do want to add, you want to use frozen broccoli, especially if you're going to be freezing this later, because if you don't use frozen broccoli and you use fresh broccoli, you're going to have to blanch it and stuff first. It's easier to just get frozen broccoli and use frozen broccoli. Plus, I'm pretty sure it's cheaper and you get more. I think it was like $2 for that giant bag of frozen broccoli that I had. And that was like 4 servings of broccoli. Also, you might want to cut the broccoli up into smaller pieces. I didn't. And I kind of wish I had, but I'm not going to be the one eating this. My husband will probably be the one eating this, and he does not care. Okay, so the other great thing about this recipe is that you can freeze it. So I took the other steak that I had in the package and I mixed that up with the marinade, which is just some cornstarch, some soy sauce, some oyster sauce, some salt and pepper, and some garlic. And I have that marinating. And so what I'm gonna do is I have my bag that I'm gonna put this in. If you wanted to make this like a full meal, you could put the broccoli in with it, but I'm just gonna leave the broccoli separate and just do the meat in this bag. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna call it broccoli beef because that's what this is. I'm gonna put today's date on it, which is 1/9/23, and then I'm gonna say 3 to 6 months for this. That's about how long it will last. I like to be a little bit conservative on how long things will last in the freezer. Generally, my rule is about 3 months. And if we haven't eaten it by then, we're probably not going to. So anyway, so I'm gonna take my beef and I'm gonna put it in this bag. Also, these Sharpie pens do not write good on plastic bags. So since this is just one steak, it's kind of like one portion of broccoli beef, which is why I put this in a smaller bag. If you were going to do more than one steak in here, you'd want to obviously double your sauce recipe. And you don't want to freeze the actual sauce that you're gonna cook. You could, but then you risk the sauce like crystallizing and not being good anymore. So I just prefer to like leave that kind of thing in the fridge and make it when I get this out of the freezer. I feel like that's easier for me. But if you want to freeze your sauce, I guess you can try it, but I really don't think that's gonna go over very well. But this is the easiest way. And then if you wanted this to be like a full like dump and go bag, you could take this and put this in a Ziploc bag with some broccoli, and then you've got like a full like dump and go meal. But yeah, that's it. It's really super simple. And if you try this, please let us know. We'd love to hear about it in the comments and like what you did to make it your own, that kind of thing. But yeah, we will see you in the next video. Bye.